Recycling stands as a powerful decarbonization action in its own right, presenting an eco-conscious approach to resource utilization that minimizes the need for energy-intensive extraction and manufacturing processes. In this episode, we unveil the decarbonization potential of recycling, revealing how the simple act of reusing materials can significantly reduce carbon emissions, conserve resources, and pave the way for a more sustainable low-carbon future. To ensure that recyclables are recovered from the waste stream as per the requirements of the end user, a material recovery facility is useful in creating a single stream recycling materials.
First of all, the material recycling facility, what we normally call MRF, it is a process of trying to separate materials after you collect from a residential area, let's say. So at least in the US, it is a single stream collection, which means everything that is recyclable that go into one bin, and then it will transport to the MRF, and then the MRF will actually separate them into different categories, and so which means like for instance paper or cardboard or plastic. They will all be separated and then bundled up and then sent to various vendors that they would turn it into some kind of feedstock material for whether it's reuse or recycling or making into different kind of products, or it could feed into energy projects or cement kiln. Like some of the plastic actually end up there. So that is a MRF system. So some of the material actually has a pretty good price when the people who collect them they pay them certain money. So its monetary return is pretty good.
After the material is successfully recovered from the waste stream, comes the recycling part.
Okay, so recycling itself is a pretty carbon efficient industry. The reason why is because it substitutes virgin materials out there in the market. When you go cut a tree down, drill oil from the ground to create plastics, or to mine iron ore in order to make iron or aluminium, there's a huge amount of a carbon footprint that's associated with that activity. When you yourself are taking an industry where you're producing a replacement material, you're essentially saving the carbon emissions that were being created by the substitute that you otherwise would have used.
There's another technology called RDF, which is a refuse-derived fuel, and there is I think the biggest plant right now is, I believe it's in Israel, that they produce, I think it's like over 2,000 tons a day, I believe. But the fuels that they generate out of it is to feed into the cement kiln.
Refuse-derived fuel, or RDF, offers a sustainable waste management solution by converting non-recyclable waste into energy, reducing landfill reliance, and mitigating environmental impact through efficient resource utilization. Its implementation minimizes waste accumulation while harnessing energy from waste material. However, it needs to be considered that there are various aspects of recycling industry as well that produce carbon emissions, and that must be focused while planning and designing decarbonization action.
The challenge with them is going to be we just don't have all the infrastructure in place to really move everything that far. Like I just said, with the example of going to an RNG facility, great. But I've got to be able to convert my trucks to be able to accept that to run off of that. I've got to be able to get it into a pipeline so I can get it to somebody else that can use it. And then, quite honestly, there are other obstacles that prevent that from happening. I live in the state of Texas. We are oil rich. We have, oil and natural gas is abundant here. And so the price of that is very low. And it means when I'm trying to take and create another gas from something like a renewable natural gas, I can't compete on that open market. And that's always the challenge there with these types of programs. And so it makes it very, very difficult to try to say, well, let's take a waste product and let's create something valuable for it, when the mentality of the producers is, I can go pull it out of the ground for a half the price or less of what you can produce it coming from, and then there's so much more that you have to do with it once you produce it at pulling it out of a landfill system, and so those are the impediments that we have with these types of systems, and we've got to change that thinking. It's, again, I feel like a broken record here. You've got to have government intervention to put a penalty, if you will, on people producing this raw material versus taking something that can be produced from a waste product and will serve the exact same purpose. And then, we've got robust infrastructure that's in place and has been in place for hundreds of years to be able to tap into that infrastructure and tap into it and put our product into those things has its challenges as well.
Keeping that in mind, I think collection is the hardest part. Chips packet, जो मैं आपको पहले बता रहा था, that's the main problem with chips के packets, because they're so lightweight and they've got a spring effect कि आप उसको अगर एक थैला में आपको दूंगा कि इसको भर के ला दे मुझे, तो you can't get more than 1 kg in there. तो you look at it from a point of view कि जी लोगों ने क्या पैसा बनाना है 1 kg इकट्ठा करके, अगर मैं उनको 700 रुपीज़ एक kg दूंगा तो शायद वो 700 रुपया दिहाड़ी बनाएंगे, right? That's not worth my while, because virgin price ही 400-500 की होगी, तो मैं 700 दूंगा तो वो that's not worth my while, right? So collection is very important. और ये क्यों मसला है हमारा? Because हमारा system ऐसा है कि it relies on assigning value to a product in order to bring that in. कि पेट बॉटल 150 रुपये किलो है तो वो एक भी नहीं नज़र आएगी आपको. शॉपिंग बैग अगर लेट्स से जी 15 रुपये है तो वो लोग कहेंगे छोड़ो यार इसको क्या निकालना है. एल्यूमिनियम कैन महंगा है वो निकाल लेंगे. ग्लास सस्ता है बड़ा भारी है निकाल लेंगे. लोहा भारी है निकाल लेंगे. वो अपनी दिहाड़ी देखते हैं, वो ये नहीं देखते कि जी एनवायरनमेंट कैसी है, पाकिस्तान साफ हो रहा है कि नहीं हो रहा.
Moreover, recycling, while essential for reducing waste and conserving resources, grapples with an array of challenges that complicate its decarbonization. From contamination issues to complex waste streams and technological limitations, the road to sustainable recycling is marked by multifaceted obstacles.
Only carbon factor, the carbon thing that to look into is our electricity, use of our electricity. Plastics like iron and like plastic, they need to be melted and molded into new shapes. So these two are especially very heavy on the carbon emission side.
Eco-informatics. The fusion of ecological knowledge and information technology plays a pivotal role in the ongoing global effort to decarbonize the recycling industry. By harnessing the power of data-driven insights and advanced analytical tools, eco-informatics empowers the recycling sector to optimize processes, reduce carbon emissions, and foster sustainability. This innovative approach is instrumental in shaping a more eco-friendly and efficient recycling landscape, contributing significantly to broader environmental goals and fight against climate change.
There are like two sides of it. One is that you could see that in modern world, a lot of the mechanical engineering, a lot of the engineering side, what they're trying to do is that to recycle the waste. In that, you could implement the eco-informatics in a way that you could identify that what are the environmental issues or implications of that recycle of the process in itself. You can actually quantify that if I installed an industry, that how much CO2 or how much environmental contribution that industry itself have. Because we don't want to be at a stage where I'm recycling a waste, but in a way I'm generating more environmental issues than actually that pre-existing waste as well. So this is where the eco-informatics would come into play, that it will quantify the environmental implications of the entire process. The second part of it is that once you have that recycled waste, then where that waste is going and what are the waste of that recycled thing as well. So these are the two sides from where you could see that where my waste management is quantifying in terms of eco-informatics. The other side is the robotics. Because we know that in a modern world, the humans have been replaced by robotics in that automation process. That all the industrial process have now been controlled by robotics. At least that's the whole plan in the future. So in that, you could see that you can install very refined and very precise those data recording chips in those robotics that can actually like start measuring the environmental sides of all those processes. And what I meant in environmental sides is basically three things. One is the CO2 emissions from that. The number two is that the methane and the nitrogen emissions from that. And the third one is the waste in itself. So all these three things, the wastage generated by the process, as well as how much we are contributing to the atmosphere from that. Because there are like two sides of waste. One is that we see and one is that we contribute to the air. So these ecoinformatics basically contributes to both of the sides.
With respect to recycling programs, they're a great program for capturing materials that are being discarded and repurposing those materials. The problem I see with recycling is it's reactionary. And I think we need to get, and I'm not, please don't misunderstand me, I'm not against recycling. It's a part of the service that we need to provide. But we need to start back upstream and work on trying to minimize that waste that's being generated in the first place, and eliminating some of the waste that we are creating. When I was growing up, a very long time ago, there weren't so many of these waste streams that were being produced. We had, and so, you know, we didn't have the volume of trash that we have now. It's not just that we have more people, it's that we're creating more disposable product into that individual waste stream per people.
The recycling industry stands as a crucial ally in the fight against climate change, offering tangible solutions to reduce carbon footprint. By prioritizing decarbonization efforts within this sector, we can amplify its positive impacts on emissions reduction and sustainable resource management. By adopting new ideas and using renewable energy, we can make recycling even more essential for taking care of our environment in the fight against climate change.